You didn't lose that argument because you were wrong. You lost it because you reacted. And the person who hurt you walked away smiling, while you were still replaying it at 2 in the morning. Stop. Before you scroll. Before you skip. I need 30 seconds of your attention, because what I'm about to tell you could be the single most important thing you hear this entire year. You have been fighting the wrong battle. Every day, someone says something rude. Someone disrespects you. Someone ignores you, betrays you, dismisses you. And every single time, you pick it up. You carry it. You let it live inside you, rent-free, taking up space where your peace should be. And here's the brutal truth nobody tells you. The person who hurt you, they forgot about it before they even got home. But you're still carrying it, like a stone in your chest. Heavy, silent, slowly breaking you. Today, on Josh Word, we're going to change that. Forever. This is the story of Thomas, a man so full of other people's pain, he forgot what joy felt like. And the ancient lesson that set him completely free. Stay with me until the very end, because I'm going to give you a practice, simple, quiet, less than 60 seconds, that you can use tonight to finally put down everything you've been carrying. Are you ready? Let's begin. Once upon a time, not so long ago, not so far away, in a quiet village cradled between soft green hills, there lived a young man named Thomas. Thomas was strong. You could see it in his build, his posture, the way he moved. He was the kind of man people respected when he walked into a room. But behind closed doors, Thomas was exhausted. Not from work, not from physical labor. Thomas was exhausted from feeling everything. When someone spoke harshly to him, Thomas answered back, twice as hard. When someone lied about him, Thomas burned with it for days. When someone disrespected him in public, Thomas replayed it 100 times, each time finding a better comeback he never got to use. People in the village called him angry. They called him difficult. They called him proud. But the truth no one ever saw, was that Thomas was simply carrying too much. Now, Thomas didn't know this consciously. None of us do, at first. But every time someone hurt him with a word, a look, a lie, a betrayal, he imagined it as a stone. And without even thinking about it, he would reach down and pick it up. And he put it in a bag. The bag he carried on his back, everywhere he went. At first, the bag was light. 1 stone, 2, maybe 5. But months passed, then years. And the bag, it grew heavier and heavier, until Thomas could no longer walk straight. He bent forward under the weight of things that happened years ago. A cruel word from a father who is now dead. A friend who betrayed him a decade back. A love that left without explanation. Thomas carried every single one. And slowly, without even noticing, the world around him dimmed. The green hills lost their color. The morning didn't excite him anymore. The laughter of children in the street felt far away, like sound underwater. Everything was gray. Everything was heavy. He smiled less. He trusted less. He loved less. Because when your back is breaking under the weight of old stones, you have no strength left to hold anything beautiful. One cold morning, the kind of morning where the sky is pale blue and the air bites at your skin, Thomas made a decision. I need to breathe, he said to himself. I need to clear my head. So he packed a small bag, on top of the big one, and began to climb the mountain path behind the village. The road was narrow, peaceful. A small wind moved through the tall grass. Birds called to each other from the branches overhead. Anyone else would have felt free. But Thomas felt the stones with every step. His back ached. His legs worked twice as hard. His jaw was tight, even up here, away from everyone. He was halfway up the mountain when he heard something unexpected. Humming. A quiet, gentle tune floating down the path from above. And then he saw him, an old merchant, walking downhill with nothing but a small bundle on a thin rope over his shoulder. His clothes were simple. His hands were wrinkled. His face was a map of lived years. But his walk was the walk of a man carrying nothing at all. Light-footed, unhurried, smiling at the trees. Thomas stopped, staring. The old man reached him, looked up, and paused. Softly, curiously. My young friend, you look weary. What is it you carry that makes the mountain so much harder for you than for me? Thomas opened his mouth to say nothing. I'm fine, the way we all do. But something about the old man's eyes stopped him. They were the kind of eyes that already knew the answer, that had seen this before, that held no judgment. So instead, Thomas exhaled, the long exhale of someone who has been holding their breath for years, and he said, Stones. I carry stones. He opened the bag slowly. Inside, stones of every shape and color. Some the size of a fist, some sharp-edged, some worn smooth, some so dark they seemed to absorb the light around them. These are the things people did to me, Thomas said quietly. The insults, the betrayals, the cruelty, the abandonment. I pick them up, and I keep them. He paused. I don't know how to let them go. They feel like they belong to me now. The old merchant looked at the bag for a long time. He didn't flinch. He didn't offer quick comfort. He just looked. Then, gently, he said, "Walk with me, just a little way." They walked together up the mountain path, side by side. The merchant said nothing for a while, and that silence felt kind, somehow. Not awkward, not empty, purposeful. Then, without warning, the old man bent down. He picked up two small stones from the path, identical in size and color, and held them in his wrinkled palms. They walked together up the mountain path, side by side. The merchant said nothing for a while, and that silence felt kind, somehow. Not awkward, not empty, purposeful. Then, without warning, the old man bent down. He picked up two small stones from the path, identical in size and color, and held them in his wrinkled palms. The stone on the ground, the merchant said, is the person who hurt you. They threw their words. They threw their cruelty. And then, they put it down. They walked away. That stone lies there, forgotten. They feel nothing. They have moved on. He pointed at the stone in Thomas's hand. But this stone, this one you hold, this is your reaction. This is the story you told yourself. Afterward, this is the anger you kept. The wound you pressed on every single day just to remind yourself it was real. Voice drops low. No one made you pick that up, Thomas. You chose to. And in choosing to carry it, you gave them victory over your life. Long after they forgot you even existed. Thomas stared at the stone in his hand. A warm wind passed between them, and something inside him, something that had been locked for years, began to crack open. So what do I do? Thomas whispered. His voice was small, almost afraid. The old merchant smiled. Not the smile of someone who has answers, but the smile of someone who remembers finding them. Leave each stone where it falls, he said. It was never yours to carry. Let it return to the earth. Let your hands be free for something worth holding. Thomas's eyes filled, not from sadness, from recognition. I have been carrying other people's stones and calling them mine. His hands began to tremble as he reached into the bag. One by one, with the old merchant standing quietly beside him, Thomas began to take out the stones. Some he placed gently on the earth, like setting down something fragile. Some he let roll away down the hillside. One, the heaviest, a dark, sharp-edged stone he'd been carrying for 10 years. He held in both hands for a long moment before letting it fall. And with every stone he released, something happened in his chest. A loosening, a softening, like knots undoing themselves one at a time. His breath came easier. His shoulders lifted. His back, his poor, bent back, began to straighten. By the time the bag was empty, Thomas was standing taller than he had in years. He looked up at the sky, really looked, not just glanced, and for the first time in longer than he could remember, he saw it. Beautiful. It had always been beautiful. He just couldn't see it through the weight. Thomas came back down the mountain, that day a different man. Not changed in a dramatic, overnight way. Not fixed, but lighter. And in that lightness, possibility returned. In the weeks that followed, he practiced. It wasn't easy. Old habits don't fall away like stones do. They creep back. They whisper to you in the quiet moments. Remember what they said? Are you really just going to let that go? But Thomas had learned to ask himself a single, powerful question every time someone tried to give him a new stone. Do I actually want to carry this? Not, did they deserve to hurt me? Not, am I justified in being angry? Just, do I want to carry this? And most of the time, when he asked it honestly, the answer was no. My friend, can I speak to you directly for a moment? Because I'm not just telling you about Thomas. I'm telling you about you. About me. About every human being who has ever woken up at 3 in the morning replaying a conversation from 3 years ago. We are all Thomas. We are all out here, bent under the weight of stones we picked up willingly, stones that were never ours to begin with. That rude comment from a stranger. That criticism from a parent. That silence from someone you loved. That dismissal from someone who should have believed in you. They put the stone down. You picked it up. And the most revolutionary thing you can do, not for them, not for the relationship, not to be the bigger person, but for yourself, for the one life you have been given. is to put it down. Your reaction is your burden, not their action. Your reaction. And your reaction is also your power. Tonight, before you close your eyes, sit up in the quiet. Just for 60 seconds. Place your hand on your chest, right over your heart. Now think of one moment from today, or maybe from years ago, that still feels heavy. Imagine it as a stone. Then, whisper these words to yourself. This stone is not mine. I release it. Take one slow, deep breath, and imagine yourself setting it down. Do this every night. One stone, one breath, one release. You will grow lighter. Your mind will grow clearer. Your heart will grow warmer. We cannot choose what others do, but we can always choose what we carry. So tonight, put the stone down. Tomorrow, put the next one down. And one day soon, you'll look up at the sky the way Thomas did on that mountain path. And you'll finally see it again. Music fades to silence. One final beat. This is Josh Word. Walk lightly. React wisely. And remember, your reaction is your power. If this story reached something inside you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe to Josh Word for stories that bring peace, strength, and clarity to your life. Until next time, be well.